Think workplace violence is only caused by disgruntled employees or armed robbers hitting up a convenience store? Guess again. California's new workplace violence prevention law recognizes 4 source types of workplace violence. Despite public perceptions, your employees' safety risks can come from people your organization works with through the course of business. California's law defines Type 2 violence as workplace violence directed at employees by customers, clients, patients, students, inmates, or visitors. When working with my clients, I refer to these people as invitees, as they're invited by your organization to work with your employees. Invitees also include vendors too. Regardless if invitees come to your workplace or if your employees go to theirs or their homes, they could still be a safety risk to your employees. In this video, I'll discuss the risks employees face from invitees and why California employers should include the risk of violence from invitees when developing and implementing a workplace violence prevention plan in compliance with the new law. Hi. I'm Mike Corwin. I help employers implement an effective workplace violence prevention program that keeps employees safer and complies with the requirements of California's new workplace violence prevention law. My approach to preventing workplace violence is based upon what I learned during my 30-plus years of working as a civil and criminal litigation investigator, where I investigated many work-related violence incidents and learned to keep myself safe from violence while working in some very dangerous places. I've got a great tool to help you get started developing your workplace violence prevention plan in compliance with California's requirements. It's my free workplace violence prevention checklist. It's a roadmap you can follow as you develop a workplace violence prevention plan. Just click on the link in the description below. A 6-state study of attorneys found that 40% of those surveyed had been threatened or physically attacked, and the second most common source for these workplace violence threats were the attorney's own clients. And speaking of risks attorneys face, how about conducting a deposition at your own office of a man your client accused of sexual molestation? I provided workplace violence prevention training to just such a law firm dealing with exactly that situation. The emotions surrounding their case made him a safety risk to their staff. And the staff at another law firm I work with felt threatened by their own client's close relative whenever he visited their office. It's not just law firms that face the risk of invitee workplace violence. Most any organization can be targeted by invitee violence. A survey of small and medium-sized businesses found that 90% of them believe workplace violence can happen to any business in any industry, and that invitee violence is a reason for this broad-based belief. Here's why. You can't harden the target. Hardening the target is a term for implementing a physical security screening process with metal detectors, bulletproof glass, and security camera monitoring. That doesn't work with invitees. After all, you invited them to work directly with your employees, either at your location or at their location where you have no control over their physical environment. And for most organizations, it's just simply not feasible to do so, either due to the cost or the need to keep your employees accessible to the public. They have easy access to employees in your parking lot. According to the FBI, parking lots are the second most common location across the country for assaults and murders. But organizations need to make parking as convenient as possible for invitees, usually near the entrance to a workplace. Because of this, they can walk right up to your employees in the parking lot or walkway leading to the entrance. Familiarity leads to lower vigilance. Our vigilance is heightened whenever we're approached by a stranger. It's just part of our fight or flight programming. But what about when we're approached by a familiar face? We drop our guard. We just don't expect violence from someone we've invited to be with us. Dropping our guard makes it easier for an invitee to trap an employee in an office, an exam room, a conference room, or a bathroom, and then attack. Invitees have greater access to our workplace and our employees. Invitees are often allowed to proceed around a workplace without supervision. They can use the bathroom or get coffee from the break room without being accompanied by an employee. But their freedom of movement also provides greater opportunity to attack an employee. Emotions can run higher with those we know personally. When your employees provide health care or other types of services to someone, emotions can boil over if there's a negative outcome. A lawyer loses a case, a nurse's patient deteriorates, a builder needs to charge more for unforeseen circumstances. Any of these situations can lead to an explosion of anger and an attack. For all of these reasons, regardless of any other violence source types, employers must consider violence from invitees as part of their workplace violence prevention plan. That includes assessing how and where the safety risks from invitees can occur, and once potential workplace violence hazards are identified, California requires employers to determine ways to address those threats and then to implement them to increase employee safety. Employers must also develop training approaches to provide employees with strategies they can use to avoid physical harm from workplace violence. And strategies to avoid physical harm are dependent upon the types of sources of workplace hazards your employees face. And finally, as part of a workplace violence prevention plan, employers must create and implement a violence incident log. Within that log, employers must assess all violence incidents for the source types of the violence, and that includes from invitees, and how those sources factored into the circumstances of the incident. Want to get started developing the required workplace violence prevention program by the July 21, 2024 deadline? Download my free workplace violence prevention checklist. It's a great roadmap for you to follow as you develop a workplace violence prevention plan. Just click on the link in the description below.